Hi, everybody. We're gonna do a reading, and then I'm gonna talk about Segmet and Bastet a little bit, so people can stop getting so confused about who the fuck I am, and I'll describe it and everything. So yeah, I'm having a crappy day, so hopefully this cheers you up to cheer me up. So I'm gonna pull some cards for the tarot tonight, and then I'm going to bed. There's nothing else to do. I'm all out of options. And anywho, we're going to start out with the main deck and see how much my heart got broken today. The world gives me so much shit. Being a goddess, I can't even take the scrutiny and the judgment anymore, and it's rather disturbing. But anyway, let's get into it. Dun, 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 dun. Fudgesicle. God, angels in the universe, what do we have today as far as Scorpio goes with mating? Let's see. Ooh, we got one card. The angels tell me to stop. All right. The butterfly. The butterfly effect. How fitting. Yes, I'm soaring like a butterfly. So all you other Scorpios. Oh, 1, 3, 6 of pence. That's a nice one. My hearts are tied. Scorpio's hearts are tied, which means it's in the right place and spiritually and with love and compassion. And the Chariot, which is also the moon card, the sun card, and the pence. So we got Father of Pence, and then Daughter of Cups. So I hope all you Scorpios are doing good. We're going to be going into Libra here soon. So that's coming up, and that will be an interesting reading. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more, and got the sun. That's my father. That's all your fathers. The sun above is the most magnificent thing. Like this is like an excellent reading. So like all my Scorpios are doing like fantastic. I hate people trying to pretend to be a Scorpio when they're not. Like a Libra named Robin Benoit. She thinks she's a Scorpio and she's a Libra and she's my cousin, and it's rather annoying because I know so much about astrology and astronomy that it's mind blowing. And it's rather frustrating when somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about tries to tell somebody that knows what they're talking about. So that's kind of frustrating. So I don't know. I just don't deal with those people anymore. We're going to do almond raw. My father above seems like the only one that's got my back lately. You. Seems that way. God, angels in universe, what do we have in store for this almond raw reading? Daughter of Bastet. Daughter of almond raw is Bastet. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do a Bastet reading tomorrow, which is going to put out like a ritual. And if you want to like hang with the goddess and worship her, you get benefits. Absolutely a lot of benefits. Because being on my bad side is not good either. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more. All right, so we got Page of Swords. We got the King of Cups. the Four of Pence. Here's the Queen. Cups are all full, and then the Four Pence. Four Wands. The Hangman, I got hung again. Seems like I get hung all the freaking time. Hung off love that is currently non-existent for me. But Ace of Waterfall and the King of Wands. So we got that Almond Rock. Thank you, Father of God. And then the one that I just flipped up was the Lovers. So tell me if my heart is wrong. Tell me if my heart is wrong for the two people that I care about. Tell me they're dead one more freaking time, and I'm gonna explode to no return, and it's not gonna be good. So I'm gonna do Angels reading. Angels and Universe. There's something better. There's always something better. Unlikely. Unlikely about what, God? The situation will improve. I see. So hopefully y'all that are in this situation will, take heed into loving people more for who they are and not using them for who they are. Like being a better person for them so they can be a better person. So that's what it's about. And there's that. We're gonna pick a herb. God, angels, and universe, what do you have in store for the world today? we got Trillium, and it is spirit into matter. What do you know? That's a good card. Such a really pretty card. It has jewels on it. Well, that's it, folks. About that. I am going to play a video on my phone regarding Segmet and Bastet and how I became a goddess and from Egyptian mythology. So I also have a website called Ancient Egyptian Bastet, and I sell. It's called Infinity Styles, and I sell jackets. Bastet jacket. There's the t-shirt. There's the back of the jacket, and there's that is unisex and shorts. And also, yeah, so that's there's some other things on here too, and it talks about men's and leggings and tank tops and everything in there. So if you want to order from that, it is called Ancient Egyptian Bastet Goddess 3D printing from infinitystyles.com products. And so yeah, support me on that and wear the gear. All right, so little known facts about Segmet and Bastet coming to sorts from a spiritual aspect. So this to me is like rather very interesting because I love learning about myself. But I'm going to play Segmet. So Segmet is the lioness of the goddess Bastet. So it's like having bipolar. Let me tell you, and I do have bipolar, by the way. So it's like having two alternations of me, and there's a calmer side, and then I have a really ferocious side where I get really pissed, and I tend to do stupid stuff sometimes, or like my power becomes like very ignited when I consort to Segmet sometimes, which right now I'm not feeling Segmet I'm feeling very just like relaxed and just kind of like fed up with the way things have like been played out and not getting like the credit I deserve for what I have been doing my whole damn life and who I've been supporting and who I've been helping. It's 420. Perfect. So the lovely Segmet. Segmet space E. Segmet lioness goddess. So she is the actual all creator of women and of mankind actually starting out. So I say she because I'm more referred to myself as Bastet now because I am sometimes more calmer than most, but most of the time it seems. So Segmet is one of the oldest Egyptian deities. You're welcome. Sekhem, which means power or might. So, yeah, powerful one or she who is powerful. And she's depicted as a lion-headed woman, sometimes with the addition of a sun disk on her head. Okay, so we're gonna watch a video. So you guys can hear it. And they send me a lot of things I don't even really watch, but I should. So here's one video on Segmet.
Home equity level,
and then we'll talk a little bit about Bastet, which is my other side of me. Okay, so.
Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we're going to talk about Segmet, which was a titan from Godzilla King of the Monsters, featured briefly but not really gone into. So we're going to try covering as much that could be revealed about the titan as possible. So this Segmet was hibernating entirely before the doors called up. In Egyptian mythology, Segmet was a sun deity warrior goddess with lioness features and said to be the fiercest hunter in all of Egypt. Its breath would also able to create deserts, which is kind of cool, I guess. Not really sure if it created deserts magically or it was just so hot and it had so much heat coming from the breath. Being a sun deity, it was able to create them. Now, she would repeatedly protect and also lead pharaohs in their various battles and wars as well, which we see how, well, that went over time. Now, when looking at our leaked Titan sheet, which we've used for other Titans, which was revealed before the release of the film, and no one really knew how legitimate it was until the film came out and everything seemed to match up, there's descriptions of, I guess, a Titan that appears to be a great fit for Segmet, and the description says, a lion or tiger-like titan with golden fur and a pair of long horns similar to a ram. So I do think this fits well for the titan's description as it incorporates the feline features known to be associated with Segmet and at the same time has golden fur, which could fit with the solar theme the character has since the sun is depicted as yellow or gold. And also at the same time, it's a very warm color, and obviously this character has some connections, some associations with heat, warmth as well. So I do think it all kind of makes sense. Now, the only other question I would have is whether the Titan has any other abilities relating to heat or fire, similar to how Rodan, with his affinity for fire, basically allowed him to be covered in lava for the entirety of the film, kind of giving him a presentation truly of being a fire demon. It's very interesting, and I really like how a lot of these Titans have inspirations from mythologies all around the world. I think that's a really cool thing as well. But leave your comments down below. Do you guys think this is a cool Titan? Would you guys like to see more of this Titan? Let us know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys later.
Well, that's a little bit about my other bipolar side, and thank you for making that video. Okay, now for the Bastet, my favorite. She's Bastet. She's sexy. Ooh.
There are many gods and goddesses in Egyptian mythology whose depiction has changed over time, and Bastet is a great example of this. She's often thought of today as the cat goddess, but she was originally known as Bas, and it wasn't until years later that the T at the end of her name was even pronounced.
The earliest depictions of Bastet did not show her as a half cat, half woman, but rather a woman with the head of a lion.
My heart for nothing.
Bastet was the daughter of Ra, and she was believed to have been associated with the sun and the concept of the all-seeing eye of Ra. Over the years, Bastet's association with the sun dwindled, and her physical appearance changed to that of a domestic cat. She became the goddess of the home, fertility, childbirth, and of course cats. With cats being considered protectors of the home in Egyptian mythology, images of Bastet could be found scattered all throughout the house, believed to ward away evil spirits and disease, particularly those that would affect women and children. Bastet was often associated with perfume and the fine scent. This belief was further reinforced by the fact that she was the mother to Nefertum, the god of perfume. Her name does suggest that she was a kind, playful, and graceful goddess, but underneath, Bastet was a fierce predator that still retained her lioness persona. She's often depicted as holding a variety of objects, each symbolizing something new: an ankh to represent new life, the papyrus wand that was thought to represent Lower Egypt, and a scepter that was thought to signify strength. It wasn't too uncommon to see Bastet being accompanied by a litter of fresh kittens in most depictions. It's no surprise that cats were considered sacred to Bastet and the Egyptian people. If harm was ever to come to a cat, it was considered a crime against Bastet, and those responsible would suffer an undesirable fate. The priests of Bastet's temple kept sacred cats within the temple walls, believing them to be incarnations of the goddess herself. They were so highly valued by the ancient Egyptians because they protected the crops of farmers, and they slowed the spread of disease by killing vermin, another reason why Bastet might be seen as a protective goddess. Being one of the daughters of Ra, Bastet was commonly referred to when discussing the Eye of Ra. She was also closely linked to the other goddesses who formed the Eye of Ra. The most noticeable link was that of Segmet, as both goddesses took the form of a lioness. They were also both considered to be the wife of Ptah and the mother to Nefertum. It was thought that Segmet represented Upper Egypt, while Bastet represented Lower Egypt. Eventually, Bastet evolved into more of a cat goddess, and with this change came a change in name, from Bas to Bastet. Segmet, on the other hand, continued to grow into her association with lions. There are those who believe that Bastet's cat-like appearance may be due to her father Ra, because he took the form of a cat when defeating the serpent god Apophis. The transformation of Bastet may have also been influenced by the ancient Greeks, as small house cats were considered skilled hunters. The ancient Greeks believed that Bastet was very similar to the goddess of the hunt, Artemis. Her name was slightly tweaked to Bastet, and her form was changed to more closely resemble Artemis, making her a moon goddess. There's no doubt that over the years, Bastet was a goddess of many associations, but her primary role was that of a protector. I think much like a pet cat, Bastet brought the ancient Egyptian families much comfort, knowing that the goddess was always with them, watching over them and protecting them. I hope this video has managed to shed some light as to why cats are so sacred back in the ancient Egyptian times. If you guys enjoyed the video, then let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But as always, I've been your host, Mythology and Fiction Explained.
And he does a really nice job at this. So, let's see.
Sorry, why did the bank took forever?
I love his videos. Is Bastet a girl? No. Alright. Next. Egyptians.
Bastet is the cat goddess in Egyptian mythology, depicted as having a woman's body with a cat's head. The Egyptians devoted great honors to cats. They were considered sacred animals. The felines had a meaningful role in the Egyptian world since, thanks to them, their food was safe from rodent infestations. Also, cats could scare treacherous, poisonous snakes. Bastet is a goddess associated with the sun, and because of that, the goddess followed Ra during the day in his solar boat, crossing through the skies. At night, the goddess turned into a cat, and, attentive, The goddess protected the world against the dreadful serpent Apophis. The goddess was worshipped throughout Egypt. Doing harm to any cat was a terrible sacrilege. The author of such a violent act could be punished with death. Cats were seen as family members, and according to some reports, whenever a house was set ablaze, the cats entered the burning house to help their residents escape the fire. Sometimes, these cats appeared to be dead in the flames, but they returned to life thanks to the goddess Bastet, emphasizing the popular saying of a 9-life cat. For being sacred animals, cats were mummified, and Egypt has cemeteries dedicated to these animal mummies. According to some versions, the goddess Bastet is linked to Segmet, the lion goddess. This goddess was violent and bloodthirsty, but was tamed, becoming a gentle and milk-drinking cat goddess. In other versions, Bastet and Segmet were sisters, and Ra's daughters.
Not sisters.
Even after the end of the worship of the Egyptian gods, cats, to this day, continue to look men up and down, hoping to have their deity acknowledged again.
All right. Here's another pretty video of me.
In Egyptian mythology, Segmet, also spelled Sekhmet, Sekhet, Sakhet, or Sekhet, among other spellings, is a warrior goddess as well as goddess of healing. She is depicted as a lioness. She was seen as the protector of the pharaohs and led them in warfare. Upon death, Sekhmet continued to protect them, bearing them to the afterlife. Segmet is a solar deity, sometimes called the daughter of Ra and often associated with the goddesses Hathor and Bastet. She bears the Uraeus, which associates her with Wajet and royalty, and the solar disk.
Absolutely.
Segmet or Sekhmet is one of the oldest known Egyptian deities. Her name is derived from the Egyptian word Sekhem, which means power or might, and is often translated as the powerful one or she who is powerful. She is depicted as a lion-headed woman, sometimes with the addition of a sun disk on her head. Her seated statues show her holding the axe of life, but when she is shown striding or standing she usually holds a scepter formed from papyrus, the symbol of northern or lower Egypt, suggesting that she was associated primarily with the north. However, some scholars argue that the deity was introduced from Sudan, south of Egypt, where lions are more plentiful. She was often closely associated with Hathor, the goddess of joy, music, dance, sexual love. Earn your degree faster at Purdue University Global. With over 175 online programs, there's pregnancy and birth. In this partnership, she was seen as the harsh aspect of the friendly Hathor. A temple was constructed by Amenemhet II to Segmet Hathor at Camelus, Imma in the western delta, in which she and Hathor are referred to as the mistress of Imma. Imma was situated near a branch of the Nile that has since shifted eastwards, but in ancient times the town was right on the edge of the desert on the route to the Libyan frontier. Clearly it was hoped that Segmet would protect the border. Segmet's main cult center was in Memphis, Men-Nefer, where she was worshipped as the destroyer alongside her consort Da, the creator, and Nefertum, the healer. Segmet was represented by the Syrian heat of the midday sun. In this aspect she was sometimes called Nezert, the flame, and was a terrifying goddess. However, for her friend she could avert plague and cure disease. She was the patron of physicians, and healers and her priests became known as skilled doctors. As a result, the fearsome deity sometimes called the Lady of Terror was also known as Lady of Life. Segmet was mentioned a number of times in the spells of the Book of the Dead as both a creative and destructive force, but above all, she is the protector of mind, balance or justice, named the one who loves Maat and who detests evil. She was also known as the Lady of Pestilence and the Red Lady, indicating her alignment with the desert, and it was thought that she could send plagues against those who angered her. When the center of power shifted from Memphis to Thebes during the New Kingdom, the Theban Triad, Amenemhet, and Khonsu,
Segmet's attributes were absorbed into that of Met, who sometimes took the form of a lion. She was associated with the goddesses given the title Eye of Ra. According to myth, Ra became angry because mankind was not following his laws and preserving justice or balance. He decided to punish mankind by sending an aspect of his daughter, the Eye of Ra. He plucked Hathor from Uriz on his brow, and sent her to earth in the form of a lion. She became Segmet, the Eye of Ra, and began her rampage. The fields ran with human blood. However, Ra was not a cruel deity, and the sight of the carnage caused him to repent. He ordered her to stop, but she was in a bloodlust and would not listen. So Ra poured 7,000 jugs of beer and pomegranate juice, which stained the beer blood red, in her path. She gorged on the blood and became so drunk she slept for 3 days. When she awoke, her bloodlust had dissipated, and humanity was saved. In one version of the myth, Ta is the first thing she sees on awaking, and she instantly fell in love with him. Their union, creation and destruction, created Nephrim, healing, and so re-established Mat. The saving of mankind was commemorated every year on the feast day of Hathor, Segmet. Everyone drank beer stained with pomegranate juice and worshipped the mistress and lady of the tomb, gracious one, destroyer of rebellion, mighty one of enchantments. A statue of Segmet was dressed in red facing west, while Bastet was dressed in green and faced east. Bastet was sometimes considered to be Segmet's counterpart, or twin depending on the legend, and in the festival of Hathor they embodied the duality central to Egyptian mythology. Segmet represented Upper Egypt while Bastet represented Lower Egypt. Segmet was closely associated with kingship. She was often described as the mother of Mehes, the lion god who was a patron of the pharaoh, and the pyramid texts, from Dynasty 5, suggest that the pharaoh was conceived by Segmet. For example, one relief depicts the pharaoh Na-user being suckled by Segmet. This ancient myth is echoed in the New Kingdom reliefs in the Temple of Set-I, which depict the pharaoh being suckled by Hathor, whose title is mistress of the mansion of Segmet. Ramesses II, Seti's son, adopted her as a symbol of his power in battle. In friezes depicting the Battle of Kadesh, Segmet appears on his horse, her flames scorching the bodies of enemy soldiers. But one pharaoh in particular seems to have had an obsession with Segmet. Amenhotep III, father of Akhenaten, Dynasty 18, built hundreds of statues of Segmet in the precinct of Met's temple, known as Sharu, south of the great temple of Amun in Karnak. It is thought that there was one for every day of the year and that offerings were made every day. Etymology: Segmet's name comes from the ancient Egyptian word Shm, which means power or might. Segmet's name is thus translated as the one who is powerful or mighty. She also was given titles such as the one before whom evil trembles, mistress of dread, lady of slaughter, and she who mauls. Roles. Segmet was considered the daughter of the sun god, Ra, and was among the more important of the goddesses who acted as the vengeful manifestation of Ra's power, the Eye of Ra. Segmet was said to breathe fire, and the hot winds of the desert were likened to her breath. She was also believed to cause plagues, which were called her servants or messengers, although she was also called upon to ward off disease. In a myth about the end of Ra's rule on the earth, Ra sends the goddess Hathor, in the form of Segmet, to destroy mortals who conspired against him. In the myth, Segmet's bloodlust was not quelled at the end of battle and led to her destroying almost all of humanity. To stop her, Ra poured out beer dyed with red ochre or hematite so that it resembled blood. Mistaking the beer for blood, she became so drunk that she gave up the slaughter and returned peacefully to Ra. The same myth was also described in the prognosis texts of the calendar of lucky and unlucky days of Papyrus Cairo 86,637. Segmet was considered the wife of the god Ta and mother of his son Nephrim. She was also said to be the mother of a lion god, Mehes. Iconography.
I have lots of
Segmet was
children.
envisioned as a fierce lioness, and in art was depicted as such, or as a woman with the head of a lioness, who was dressed in red, the color of blood. Sometimes the dress she wears exhibits a rosetta pattern over each breast, an ancient leonine motif, which can be traced to observation of the shoulder knot hairs on lions. Occasionally, Segmet was also portrayed in her statuettes and engravings with minimal clothing or naked. The royal biers were fashioned to represent Segmet, symbolizing her role as protector, even in death. They are depicted in all images of the embalming rites, showing her head, the characteristic tufted tail, and her feet. In the tombs, the coffins were placed on them. It is estimated that more than 700 statues of Segmet once stood in one funerary temple alone, that of Amenhotep III, on the west bank of the Nile.
Only marry him once for everlasting love to Angel Fernandez. Casas.
I would never recommend
Sorry, I
something
just
for
seen
people
that.
that I know and love and trust if it wasn't safe for them.
Okay, so that was a little bit about, me. It's kind of a touchy subject every time I hear it because it's like completely true. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So, anyway, like and subscribe if you guys like this kind of stuff, and I can make some more videos for you. Okay, well, thank you. Like and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Blah, 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 blah. Love you.